الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. We begin this evening the portion of the author he mentioned رحمه الله تعالى ونواقضه ثمانية يعني والنواقض الوضوء ثمانية. The nullifiers of al-wudu, of the ablution, they are 8. وَنَوَاقِضُهُ ثَمَانِيَةٌ. So the author, he mentions that those affairs that would invalidate and nullify the wudu, they are 8. We read them one by one. I need to read the text. He says, الْخَارِجُ مِنَ السَّبِيلَيْن. الْخَارِجُ مِنَ السَّبِيلَيْن. That which comes from السَّبِيلَيْن. وَالسَّبِيلَيْن مَخْرَجَ البول والغائط. And the place, the sabilain is considered the place where the urine or the feces comes from. These are the two pathways, yani for relieving oneself. And this is what is intended here. Khariju min as-sabilain, yani that which comes out of those two paths, yani the pathway of urine or the pathway of feces. And then he says, wal kharijul fahishu an najisu min al-jasadi. And likewise, that which comes from the body, from the impurities, that's considered a large amount. And from other than those pathways, that which comes out of the body, from that which is considered impure, that which is considered a najasa, that comes out of the body, yani in a large amount, that is not from those two pathways. And then he says, وَالزَّوَالُ الْأَقْلِ, and that a person, he will lose his sound mind. وَمَسُّ الْمَرْأَةِ بِالشَّهْوَةِ, and also touching a woman with the desires, with the sexual desire. وَمَسُّ الْفَرْجِ بِالْيَدِ قُبُولًا كَانَ أَوْ دُبُورًا, and touching the private parts with the hand, whether it's the front or the back, and in the front or in the back. And then he says, وَأَكْلُ اللَّحْمِ الْجَزُورِ, and eating the meat of the camel. وَتَغْسِيلُ الْمَيِّتِ, and washing the deceased. وَالرِّدَّةُ عَنِ الْإِسْلَامِ أَعَاذَنَا اللَّهُ مِنْ ذَلِكَ, and to apostate from the deen of Islam. May Allah protect us from that. So this is what the author has mentioned here. And we will take each one of these points in a bit of detail, inshaAllah. And we will see that a number of them in reality will not be considered nawaqib, will not be considered invalidators or nullifiers of the wudu, but some of them they are, no doubt about that. In others, there's a difference of opinion with regards to them. Some of them will not be considered, and Allah knows best. And some of them will not be considered, and Allah knows best. So we take them in a bit of detail. Before that, we begin this issue, and this is a very important chapter and very important issue with regards to this affair. And we remember that we're still discussing shurut al-salah, وَمَا زِلْنَا فِي الشَّرْطِ الرَّابِعِ, and we still are in the fourth condition. So all of this here up until now is all related to the fourth condition of the prayer. So the author rahimahullah ta'ala, with regards to these shurut, and in this particular condition here, he branched off and he mentioned a number of details. And likewise, we have even gone into further detail because of the importance of this particular condition in the life of a believer, and the issues that are related to this specific point, to this specific condition, are very important, and they are affairs that a person he will deal with on a daily basis. So therefore, it's very important to be upon clarity with regards to the likes of these affairs. So this issue here is the chapter of nawaqid al-wudu, the nullifiers of the wudu. And the people of knowledge, they mention nawaqid jam'u naqid, and the word nawaqid here, what the author is referring to, wa nawaqiduhu thamaniya, and its nawaqid are 8, yani meaning the invalidators. So this word here is a plural on the scale of fawa'id, and the singular version is, or the mufrad, it is naqid. And this is the case with this particular scale, the scale of fa'il. If the word is ghayru aqil, then the plural is on the scale of fawa'il, like this. So we say naqid wa nawaqid. Naqid wa nawaqid. So the naqid, this is from the masdar, an-naqdu. And an-naqdu is to literally to invalidate something, or to nullify something, or even to take something down. So linguistically, an-naqdu huwa hadmu shay ba'da bina'ihi. Hadmu shay ba'da bina'ihi. Yani that something will be built, or something will be established, and then after that it will be taken down. It will be taken down. So this is the linguistic understanding of an-naqd. Of an-naqd. You say naqada yanqudu. Naqadahu yanquduhu. Unquduhu naqdan. Naqdan. So this verb here cannot occur except after something has already been established. So this is the issue here. So this is what we're discussing. Also, it's mentioned al-ifsadu ba'da al-ibram. Al-ifsad ba'da al-ibram. Yani, so for example, yani a building, maybe a structure, a physical structure could be built, and if somebody tore it down, yani naqaduhu, then they had demolished it and they had taken it down. But also it's with regards to spiritual affairs, or with regards to non-tangible affairs. Non-tangible affairs, like for example a contract. If there's a contract and somebody violated the contract, you say that they naqaduhu, naqadul ahad, that they invalidated the contract, that they invalidated that, or they violated those rights. So this is the meaning of this word here. النقض هو الإفساد والإبطال والهدم بعد الإبرام, that a person, he would destroy something or invalidate something or violate something or take it down after it has been established. So with regards to this, these are nawaqid al-wudu. So these are the things that will invalidate and they will remove and violate that abolition, meaning that they will destroy it after it has been present. If a person, he established it and he was upon the wudu, he was upon the tahara, then if one of these affairs came, they will remove that entirely and invalidate that and nullify that ruling. And nullify that ruling. So the author, he mentioned here that there are 8, and we will see that a number of them, there are no doubt about them, and some of them, they have differences of opinion with regards to them, and we will discuss them insha'Allah ta'ala. So the first one, he says, Al-Khariju min as-sabilain. Al-Kharij min as-sabilain. That which comes out of as-sabilain. As-sabilain, again, makhraju al-bawli wa makhraju al-gha'it. As-sabilain, this is a term referred to the 2 pathways. That's what it literally means linguistically, but what it's referring to is the pathway of urine and the pathway of feces, the pathways that a person, he will relieve himself with. So that which comes out of these pathways, this is what is intended here, al-kharij, that which comes out of this, it will invalidate the wudu. So the people of Nard, as they mentioned with regards to this, al-kharij min as-sabilain, yanqasimu thalathata aqsam, that there are 3 different types of these affairs. There's al-kharij al-mu'tad, something that comes out of these pathways normally with regards to all of the people, and they share in that, and it's very normal that all of these affairs, they come out. And likewise, there are things that come out, al-kharij al-nadir, any things that rarely come out, and likewise there are things that something al-kharij alladhi yakunu bayna dhalika, bayna hadha wa hadha, something that sometimes will be released or will come out of one of these pathways, but it's not normal. It's something that happens often, and likewise it's not something rare. Rather, it's something in between the two of them. So we discuss them in this manner like this. So we have now al-kharij al-mu'tad. Al-kharij al-mu'tad min as-sabilain, that which normally comes out of these 2 pathways. That which normally comes out of one of these 2 pathways. So when we discuss this issue, we have al-bawl, wal-gha'it, wal-rih, wal-mani, wal-madhi, wal-wadi. These affairs here, these are the al-kharij al-mu'tad. This is what normally will come from these pathways. The first one is al-bawl, urine. And the second one is al-gha'it, which is feces. And the third one is al-rih, which is gas. And likewise we have al-mani. Al-mani is semen. Al-mani is semen, and al-madhi is the sticky fluid that comes out whenever a person he thinks about sexual intercourse or when his desires are aroused. So there's a difference between the two. The one that the child is created from, the semen that comes out forcefully with pleasure, this is called al-mani. And there's the one that comes out before that. That's the semen is known, it's thick and it's white. And as for the other fluid called the madhi, then it's thin and it's clear and it's sticky, and it comes out and a person will not realize. It comes out and a person will not realize. So these are all things that come out normally. And also al-wadi. So these three here, it's important to differentiate from them. The other ones are very clear. Al-bawl, urine. This is very clear. Everybody is aware of this one. And likewise al-gha'it, the feces. This is also very clear. A person, he will pass urine, or a person, he will defecate and relieve himself in this manner. This type of affairs that come out, they're well known. Likewise ar-rih, likewise the gas that comes out of a person. This also is well known. But these other three affairs, the terms may be new to some people. So we have again al-mani. Al-mani is the semen. This is what the human being is created from by the power and the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a thick fluid that comes out with pleasure, and it comes out forcefully, and it's thick and white in color, and likewise this is well known. The other one is al-madhi, and you can say it al-madhi with bikasr al-dhal, al-madhi or al-madhyu. Al-madhyu, and it's pronounced both ways, and it comes both ways in some of the texts, in different wordings. This is the other fluid that's different from the many. So we want to be able to be upon clarity with regards to these things that come out, because each one has its own ruling, and along with the fact that all of them invalidate the wudu, but there are also other detailed rulings that are related to each one of them. There are also detailed rulings related to each one of them. So some of them will, along with making, will require for a person to make wudu. Another one will require for a person to make ghusl. Some of them are impure and they must be washed. And some of them are are light impurity, and some of them are not impure, whether they're pure. So there's rulings related to these. So we know the difference between the mani and the madhi. The mani is the semen, and the madhi is the fluid that comes out before that comes out whenever the sexual desires get aroused, and it's thin and it's sticky, and it's thin and it's sticky and it's clear, and it doesn't come out with pleasure. And a person, he's aroused, but he doesn't feel it coming out. He doesn't feel pleasure when it comes out. But with regards to the semen, when it comes out, then a person, he feels pleasure. He feels pleasure whenever this one is released, and he feels the shahwa. And it comes out forcefully. Ma'in dafiq. And it comes out with force, like this. As for the other one, and then it flows. The madhi, then it just comes out lightly and easily, and possibly a person, he may not even realize that. Realize that. The third one here, from these three affairs, is al-wadi. The people of Nad, as they mentioned, that this is a fluid that comes out sometimes with some people who have a certain condition, or even sometimes it might come out normally for some people after they pass urine. And it's not urine, but it's another fluid that looks similar to the mani. It's a thick type of fluid, and it's similar to the mani, but it doesn't come out with pleasure, and it doesn't have the ruling of the mani. It'll come out sometimes in drops. Maybe after a person, sometimes he passes urine, some drops of a white or thicker substance will come out along with the urine, or after he passes urine, and the likes like this. This substance here, this fluid here, is called al-wadi. So it's different. So it resembles, looking at it, the mani, but the ruling is different, and the way that it comes out is different. And normally, most of the time, it comes out after passing urine. So the bowl is najis. The urine is najis, and the gha'it is najis. We understand this part, huh? And the gas is gas. It's not a substance it's not tangible like that. So this is the case. So the urine is impure, and the feces is impure. As for the mani, which is the semen, this is pure. It's not impure. This is pure, and it is not impure. And it's been collected by Imam Muslim from the hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha that she said, لَقَدْ رَأَيْتُنِي أَفْرُقُهُ مِنْ ثَوْبِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمْ فَرْكًا ثُمَّ يُصَلِّ فِيهِ. I would scratch that off of the garment of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then he would pray in it. And we know that scratching something off doesn't remove it entirely. If there's something that originally was moist and wet on a garment, and then it dries, and then somebody scratched it off, it will not remove it entirely. So therefore, she would scratch what she could off, radiallahu anha, and then the rest of that would stay there, and he would pray in that, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. An indication that it is not impure. Had it been impure, then it would have been an obligation to use water to remove it and make sure that it's all entirely removed. So the ruling about the mani, the semen, is that it's tahir, but it is shay'un mustaqdar. But it's something that's considered to be gross, or that is seen on a person. It's something that he will not dislike to have on him. So if it gets on a person's clothing, he will remove it, not because it's an impurity, but because it's something that's not nice to have on your clothing. And likewise, it's not a person, he's shy that other people would see it, so on and so forth. So he will remove it. But if it so happened, for example, it was on his clothing and he prayed in it and he knew, his prayer will be correct. Because this is tahir. This substance here, this fluid here is tahir. It's not impure. It will not affect his prayer. But that doesn't mean a person who just leave it on his skin or leave it on his clothing or not have any care about it. No, it's something that's mustaqdar. Mustaqdar is something that's considered covered. It's considered dirty. And the likes like this, but there's a difference between considering something dirty and something being considered impure. So there's a difference between the qadr and the wasikh and the najasa. Something that is dirty. For example, maybe somebody goes to work and he works on vehicles. He works outside in construction. He comes home dirty. Or his clothing is dirty, or he has dirt on his hands, or he has oil on his hands, or he works in the kitchen. Maybe he comes home and they say his clothes are dirty. But this type of dirt here is not impurities. And it will not prohibit him from praying. He can even pray in them, and if he needed to. So this type of substances or and the likes is not considered najasa. So we have to make a difference when we discuss these affairs between what is considered impure and what is considered just to be dirty. So there's a difference between the two. So the najasa, this is the impurities, like urine and feces. These are impurities. So if a person had one of those on the clothing, then it will have to be removed. This is related to the next condition. But just so that we know these rulings here. So the mani, the semen, it is pure. But it's something that a person, if it got on his clothing or on his body or the likes, on his covers, so on and so forth, he will clean it off. And as for al-madhi is the thin substance that comes out when thinking about sexual intercourse and the likes, or when a person gets aroused. This thin, clear, sticky substance, the people of knowledge, they mentioned that it is najis, but it's najasa khafifa. It's something that's very light. It's considered impure, but it's very light. So the ruling is different. The bowl, the urine, if it got on a person's clothing, he has to wash it off entirely, and put water and wash it clean. As for the madhi, he can simply sprinkle. So if it got on his undergarment, for example, it will suffice for him just to sprinkle water there. Because the najas is considered something light. And this is what has come in the sunnah with regard to that. To make the nadah or the rush, which is just sprinkling lightly on the garment in that place. As for al-wadi, then al-wadi also is najis. Al-wadi is najis. It takes the same ruling as the urine. So all of these things, they invalidate the wudu. And all of these things are min al-kharij min as-sabilain. These things, they come from the two pathways of urine and the feces, and all of them they break the wudu. As for the mani, then it breaks the wudu, and it requires for a person to make ghusl. As for the others, then he will just have to wash himself off, and to cleanse that impurity, and then make wudu, and that will suffice. They are considered from the minor hadith. These other things that come out are from the minor hadith. As for the many, then this is a major hadith. Then this is a major hadith. So these things, they would invalidate the wudu even if it's a drop. Even if it's a drop. Urine, if it comes out one drop, that invalidates the wudu. That invalidates the wudu. The mani or the madhi or the wadi, even if it's one drop, if this comes out, it invalidates the wudu. The gas, it invalidates the wudu. If it comes out just lightly, even if there's no sound, but a person is certain that the gas was passed, even if it's something light, this invalidates the wudu, whether it's a lot or a little. Whether it's a lot or a little. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentioned in the verse of al-wudu, أو جاء أحدكم من الغائط, أو جاء أحدكم من الغائط, or if one of you comes from al-gha'it. And the people of knowledge, they mentioned about the word al-gha'it, which we translate to mean defecating. But originally the word gha'it is al-makan al-munkhafid. It's a place in the lower lands. And they used to go to this place to relieve themselves, and they would go away from their homes and away from the eyes of the people, and then to the lower area, so that the people could not see them, to relieve themselves. So therefore that place that they used to go to is called al-gha'it. And then after it's been used so many times, it started to be used as a term for the actual thing that's coming out, and meaning to refer to the feces. Meaning to refer to the feces. So if it's meaning going to the أو جاء أحدكم من الغائط, if it's talking about the actual thing, meaning the feces, or if it's talking about the place, in that place, both things occurred. The urine, relieving oneself from the urine and from the feces. So in any case, this is an evidence for that the gha'it, it will break the wudu. It will break the wudu. It will require a person to make wudu. And likewise as well, we have seen in the hadith of Safwan ibn Asal radiyallahu anhu, that he said, كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يأمرنا إذا كنا سفرا, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to order us if we were traveling. إذا كنا سفرا مسافرين, if we were traveling, ألا ننزع خفافنا ثلاثة أيام ولياليهن, ثلاثة أيام ولياليهن, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered us not to take off our khifaf, our leather socks, for 3 days or 3 nights, whenever they're traveling. إِلَّا مِن جَنَابَةٍ, except if we were in the state of janaba, except if we fell into the state of janaba. وَلَكِن مِن غَائِطٍ وَبَوْلٍ وَنَوْمٍ. So this evidence here, this hadith here, is clarifying that these affairs here, they invalidate the wudu. One of them is a major hadith, that is the janaba. And they'll have to take off the khifaf if that one occurred in order to remove the hadith. He says, وَلَكِن مِن غَائِطٍ وَبَوْلٍ وَنَوْمٍ, except rather from defecating, or from urinating, or from sleeping. So therefore, this is a clarification that all of these affairs, they invalidate the wudu. But with regards to defecating, urinating, and sleeping, then these are from al-hadith al-asghar. So it would suffice to make wudu and then just wipe. But as for al-janaba, this is al-hadith al-akbar, so it will not suffice here to wipe. Rather, he will have to take off those socks and make a complete ghusl, and in the manner that is well known. So this is an evidence for this issue here. This is an evidence for this issue here. This is clarifying the gha'it and the bowl, and likewise the nom. The nom is going to come specifically. We discussed this issue in detail. What is intended by a nom? This is another point. Now the focus is al-kharij min as-sabilain, al-gha'it wal-bowl, defecating and passing urine, defecating and urinating. So likewise the rih also is an invalidator, and it has been collected by Bukhari Muslim from the hadith of Abdullah ibn Zayd radiyallahu anhu, that he said, شُكِيَ إِلَى النَّبِي صلى الله عليه وسلم رَجُلُ يَجِدُ فِي الصَّلَاةِ شَيْئًا أَيَقْطَعُ الصَّلَاةَ. So he mentioned that it's mentioned to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam about a man who is unsure that he finds something, يخيل عليه, that he finds something in his stomach, أشكل عليه أخرج منه شيء أم لا, that something happened in his stomach. He's feeling like his stomach is bothering him while he's in the prayer, and he's not sure did he pass gas or not. Should he leave the prayer? أَيَقْطَعُ الصَّلَاةِ, should he cut the prayer and go make the wudu again? So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, لَا حَتَّى يَسْمَعَ صَوْتًا حتى يسمع صوتا أو يجد ريحا. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, no, he should not leave the prayer. He should not leave the prayer unless he hears a sound or he smells a scent. Unless he hears a sound or smells a scent. And what is intended from this is not that he actually has to hear or smell. And this is just to emphasize this affair, meaning that he's certain something came out. In any case, there's a consensus that it's not an obligation to hear or to smell. Rather, if he's certain that he passed gas, then this invalidates the wudu. So now it will not be allowed for him to continue in the prayer. Whether he heard a sound or not, or whether he smelt the scent or not, if he's certain, not whispers. If he's certain, then the wudu has been invalidated. The wudu has been invalidated. So this is from the evidences of this. This is from the evidences of this. An-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, he has some beneficial commentary on this narration. Again, the narration is about the man who asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and there's a number of wordings likewise narrated from more than one companion. Yani that a person, he's in the prayer and his stomach starts to bother him and he's not sure. يُخَيَّلُ إِلَيْهِ يعني أنه خرج منه شيء, that he's imagining, feeling in his stomach that something's leaving, but he's not certain. So what is he certain of? And he's in the salah, so he's certain that he has wudu. Yeah, of course, he's certain he has wudu. So now he's having doubts whether he has the wudu or not. So this is why the question is coming now. So now they want to find out the ruling. They say he's certain he had wudu, he's in the prayer, but his stomach is bothering him. And he's even not sure, maybe something came out or not. So what should I do? Should I cut the prayer? Should the person cut the prayer? So the Prophet ﷺ said, لا ينصرفن من الصلاة. He should not leave the prayer at all. حتى يسمع صوتا أو يجد ريحا. He should not leave the prayer. He should not cut the prayer. He should continue in the prayer unless he hears a sound or he smells a scent. Unless he hears a sound or he smells a scent. And Nawawi, he says, rahimahullah, معناه, the meaning of this, يعلم وجود أحدهما ولا يشترط السماع والشم بإجماع المسلمين. What is intended from this is that he knows with certainty that one of them occurred. And he is for sure that, and he passed gas. And it's not a condition that he should hear or smell something by the consensus of the Muslims. And then he says, وَهَذَا الْحَدِيثُ أَصْلٌ مِنْ أُصُولِ الْإِسْلَامِ وَقَاعِدَةٌ عَظِيمَةٌ مِنْ قَوَاعِدِ الْفِقْهِ. That this narration here is a foundation from the great foundations of Al-Islam and a great principle from the principles of fiqh and understanding and jurisprudence. And this hadith here is a foundation, a fundamental principle and a great foundation in understanding the deen of Al-Islam and having good understanding and having a good understanding in the rulings of jurisprudence specifically about the deen and the rulings of Al-Islam. And he says, وَهِيَ أَنَّ الْأَشْيَاءَ يُحْكَمُ بِبَقَائِهَا عَلَى أُصُولِهَا حَتَّى يُتَيَقَّنَ خِلَافُ ذَلِكَ. He says, and that is this principle here, this great principle and foundation is that things, the ruling of those, the things, the ruling is that they remain upon their foundations and fundamentals until certainty is established contrary to that. And the things, they remain in the manner that they are. Things, the ruling for something is that it remains in the manner that it is until a person is certain that it's changed. So the people of knowledge, they express this particular principle in a number of different issues. And they say, Al-aslu baqa'u ma kana ala ma kan. That's what it's referring to here. Al-aslu baqa'u ma kana ala ma kan. The origin with regards to affairs is that things, they remain upon what they were upon. Meaning until it's certain that they've been changed. Also maybe they will say, Al-yaqeen la yazulu bi-shak. Al-yaqeen la yazulu bi-shak. That certainty is not removed by doubt. The certainty is not removed by doubt. So if a person, he's upon certainty about something, then that thing remains in that manner that he was certain until he's certain that it changed. And no doubt would affect that ruling and change that. And he cannot listen to those doubts. And he cannot build rulings on those doubts. And doubts will not be a means to change the ruling from what he's certain about. This is, like he said here, a general, all-encompassing principle. And he beginning in the chapter of Tahara, but likewise in many aspects in the religion. And many aspects in the religion, and also it's applied in many different circumstances in life. And many different circumstances in life. So he says, وَلَا يَضُرُّ الشَّكُّ الطَّارِئُ عَلَيْهَا. And this certainty here, and the rulings of affairs that we judge that they remain in the manner that they were upon their origin until it's certain that that is changed. And doubt that comes along later will not affect that. Will not affect that. And so he's going to get to the point. He says, فَمِنْ ذَلِكَ مَسْأَلَةُ الْبَابِ الَّتِي وَرَدَ فِيهَا الْحَدِيثِ. And from that is the issue of this chapter that this narration has come with regards to. وَهِيَ أَنَّ مَنْ تَيَقَّنَ الطَّهَارَةَ وَالشَّكَّ فِي الْحَدَثِ حُكِمَ بِبَقَائِهِ عَلَى الطَّهَارَةِ. حُكِمَ بِبَقَائِهِ عَلَى الطَّهَارَةِ. And it is that if a person, he has certainty he's upon tahara, like the man in the hadith. His certainty he's upon tahara, like the man in the hadith. And then he has a doubt after that certainty. He has doubt after that hadith came, then the ruling that is made in this circumstance is that he remains upon tahara. We understand that. This is clear. Somebody who has tahara and he's certain about that, and he has no doubt about that, and then suddenly from somewhere a doubt came to him. Did I make hadith? Was there a hadith? This doubt here is cast away. It's not used to establish a ruling. You understand? And it will judge based upon what he has certainty about. So what is the certainty? Is that he was upon tahara. This example fits the hadith exactly. You understand? So the man he complained about his stomach. He's not sure there's something. He's in the prayer. So he's certain he has tahara or not? He's in the middle of salat. He's certain he has tahara. So then in the middle of the prayer, his stomach bothers him and he's not sure does something come out or not. The Prophet ﷺ, the meaning of the narration that he should not leave the prayer until he's certain that he passed gas. So therefore that doubt that came later after certainty is neglected, and there's no ruling. You don't base a ruling on that. You turn away from that and you keep on going with that which you had certainty about. So this is the example he's making, rahimahullah, is exactly precisely in line with the narration. But also we could understand the opposite way as well. So a person who was certain that he did not have tahara, he was certain that he was upon a hadith, and then later on he is ready for it's time for prayer and he's thinking, did I have tahara or not? He's thinking now he's thinking to himself, do I have tahara or not? And did I make tahara or not? You understand? Did I make wudu or not? So now he knows that he broke the wudu before, and now he's doubting did he make the wudu now? So which one is certain? He's certain about the hadith. So now this doubt here is not going to help him. He's going to turn away from that doubt and he's going to go make wudu. He's doubting that he's certain now he had a hadith. He knows he broke the wudu. He knows he went to the restroom. He knows he knows he went to the bathroom. And then he can't remember did he make wudu after that, or he knows that he passed gas, but he can't remember did he make wudu after that or not. Possibly he did normally, but he's doubting, not doubting about the hadith being present, doubting about the wudu. So now since he's doubting about the wudu, then he bases his judgment on that which he's certain, and that is he doesn't have wudu. So therefore he makes wudu. So a person, if he doesn't know these principles here, shaitan will play with him inside and outside of his prayer. Shaitan will play with him inside and outside of his prayer. And preoccupy him and make the worship heavy for him, make the tahara heavy for him, make the salat heavy for him. He'll start having lots of problems, and worshiping Allah will not be a delight for him anymore. Rather, it will be a problem for him. And this is the aim and goal of shaitan, to make the ibadah thaqila ala al-insan, so that eventually he will leave it or not benefit from it as he should. So by learning these affairs here, then a person, he will, if he whatever he's certain about, he just moves upon that. When the doubt comes, he will repel that with certainty. Al-yaqeen la yazulu bi-shakk. So therefore, this is a very beneficial principle with regards to this affair, whether a fundamental from the fundamentals of the deen. This is from the Al-Qawaid al-Kubra, Al-Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya al-Khamsa al-Kubra, from the 5 great principles of the religion in fiqh. And there are a number of them, but 5 of them are the most important. And from them, this one, al-yaqeen la yazulu bishak. Al-yaqeen la yazulu bishak. So then he says, ولا فرق بين حصول ذلك الشك ولا فرق بين حصول ذلك الشك في نفس الصلاة أو حصوله خارج الصلاة. It doesn't, and there's no difference likewise whether this doubt occurred during the prayer or outside the prayer. And you hear the example in the narration, it occurred during the prayer. So what would he do? He's certain he had tahara, now he's doubting. Did he make a hadith? So he pays no attention to the hadith, he keeps going until he's certain that the hadith came. Unless he's certain that the hadith came. So he's saying here, rahimahullah, the same ruling, whether he's in the prayer or outside the prayer. Whether he's in the prayer or outside of the prayer. He says, وَهَذَا مَذْهَبُنَا وَمَذْهَبُ جَمَاهِيرِ عُلَمَاء السَّلَفِ وَالْخَالِفِ. And this is our methodology and the methodology of the majority of the scholars of the past and the present. Of the past and the present. After this, he mentioned a number of affairs likewise. This principle here also comes. This principle here likewise will be implemented in the salat. If he's praying and he forgot, he's not sure how many he prayed. He's in Isha, for example, and he can't remember. Did he pray 3 or 4? Is he on the 3rd or 4th rakah? He can't remember. Which one is he certain about?
3.
He's certain he made 3. He can't remember. Did he pray 3 or 4? Huh? So he'd know. Is he on the 3rd or the 4th? You understand? So he's going to go with the lower number. This is the one he's sure about. He's not sure that he did the 4th one, or am I on the 4th one or not? And so obviously he's certain he's in the 3rd one. So then he's going to count it as the 3rd one, because why? He's certain about that one. And the origin is that the whatever one is certain about, you judge upon that, and that certainty is not removed from doubt. So therefore, you do not move on to the 4th whenever he's doubtful about that one and certain about the 3rd. So he'll count it as 3, and then he'll make sujood as-sahw, so on and so forth. So this is a point for that. You need a place for that. This is a place for that. Likewise, with regards to talaq, any divorce. Some people they don't know. The shaitan whispered with them so much he does not know if he divorced his wife or not. He will say some words or do some things or think some things or talk to himself, so on and so forth. And then so the origin is that he didn't. That she's his wife. That's the origin. If he's uncertain about these affairs. So this is applied in a number of affairs. Likewise, with regards to the Islam of a person. With regards to the Islam of a person, somebody who we know is a Muslim. Somebody who we know, when we met him, his Abdullah, he's Muhammad, he's Zayd. When we met him, all we know him is he's a Muslim. He prayed with us or whatever. Whenever we met him, we're certain about this person, he's a Muslim. And then later on we see him, waliyadu billah, for example, outside doing something haram. We see him outside, for example, riding in a car listening to music. Or we'll see him outside, for example, at the store and he's in line buying beer, for example. Or we see him and he pulls up, bobbing his head, and he's got a joint in his hand, smoking marijuana. So what would a person say now? You look at him and say, oh, he disbelieved. Huh? La, this is the way of the Khawarij. The origin is that he's a Muslim. And these affairs here do not take a person out of Islam. So he's sinning, no doubt about that. But there's a difference between sins. Maybe he's walking with a woman. Waliyadu billah. Maybe we see him, for example, we go to the store and then look up and there's that brother that we're talking about now, and he's walking with the woman and she has she's not even covered properly, and so on and so forth. So on and so forth. So a person would not think, he would no doubt he'll think bad about him because it's very clear. But he will not, the asl that he's a Muslim is not removed now. You understand that? Because he's doing all these bad things. So now doubts are going to come. Oh, so somebody might, is he a Muslim? How is he doing that? So this is a difference between taking somebody out of Islam and somebody falling into major sin or falling into corruption and the likes like this. So the origin is that he's a Muslim. The origin is that he's a Muslim. Likewise, you know nothing but good about a person. You know nothing but good about a person. Somebody, for example, is your brother. You know him. He's upon the Sunnah. Oh, you know about him. You never thought anything different about him. He's somebody upon the Sunnah. And then suddenly somebody spreads something on WhatsApp. So-and-so is this and that. so-and-so was that and this, or we heard that so-and-so said this, and the likes like this, or hey, so-and-so is with these hizbis, or this one and that one, and there's no evidence, there's no proof, it's just a statement, just a rumor. What's the origin with regards to this? So now that's a doubt. Oh, we seen so-and-so with these brothers and those brothers, with the hizbis, or in the hizbi masjid, and it's just a rumor. And it's just a rumor with no base. Many people, they're affected by that and they'll boycott that person immediately. And this is a bad way. And this is because they don't understand these basic fundamental principles that the religion is based upon. And that is that the origin is that he's upon what he was upon. At bare minimum, you're going to ask him about that. I heard, brother, this and that. But you never accuse him of something until you're certain about that, especially about his deen, especially about his salafiyah, especially about his sunnah, especially about his Islam, until it's certain. So the issue is not about somebody who we're doubtful about, that we already knew he's wishy-washy. No, somebody that you had no doubt about, that he's your brother upon the deen, that he's your brother upon the sunnah. So now these whispers, now these doubts, now these rumors don't remove none of that. There has to be certainty before we can judge against him that he left the sunnah, or that he's with the people of innovation, or that he's misguided, or that he is not reliable, so on and so forth. And once it's established that somebody's reliable, that's not removed by rumors. That's not removed, not in the deen of Allah. Not in the deen, maybe in the deen of some of the people who have weak hearts, and they have weak deen, it's removed, but that's not the reality though. So this is something that's very important. This principle here is very important in many aspects in life, that it comes into application. But al-aslu baqa'u ma kana ala ma kan. The origin is that things, they remain upon the way that they were. They remain upon the way that they were. They don't change. If the origin of something is pure, then it's pure. Nothing changes that except certainty that impurity came. Except certainty that impurity came. We understand that? So if somebody looked down at the floor and then the origin is the floor is what? It's pure. And then if, for example, you see some animal like a dog walking outside, then you say, oh no, it's the ground. Can we pray here? I seen a dog walking here. Can you pray outside? If you want to pray, for example, outside, you're going to pray in a park, for example. What's the origin with the grass? It's clean, it's tahir. Bal mutahhir, the earth is you make wudu with it. You can make it when you don't have water, with the earth. So then somebody sees a dog walking by, say, oh, maybe the dog came over here. Maybe the dog came over here and passed urine right here. We can't pray here. What's that called? That's called waswasa. It's a doubt, no doubt. It's a but that's the waswasa. The shaitan, he does this to the people. No, this principle here, where you just remove that and you keep moving. You say, man, the origin is that this is the earth and it's pure. And if a person, he lived his life based upon what if this happened and what if that happened? What if the dog came here? What if this person came here? And what if that happened? Or what if I forgot? And this is all from the shaitan. He will never find stability. He will never find peace. He will never find ease. He will never find delight in worship. What if this happened? What if that happened? People, they do this, and they get tricked into falling into major sin. What if my house? What if something happens and my house burns down? Oh, I'm going to have to get house insurance. What if this house? What if this happened? What if that? What if somebody comes and takes my car? What if it's what is that? What if what if the tornado comes and flips my car? What if the tree falls on my house? The tree in my backyard fell down today. The big one. Alhamdulillah, it missed the house. The big one, yani. The big one. It missed the house, alhamdulillah. But some people, they say, what if the tree falls on my house? And then they're going to have to go with this type of insurance and that type of insurance. And a lot of that is not required. It's not required. It will not be allowed. It will not be allowed. Or what if this happens? Or my somebody is sick, and then what if they get sick, or I have to go do this, or I have to get... all of this right here is just... shaitan yut'ibur insan. He will just wear him out. The devil, he will wear a person out with the likes of these affairs. So this is great. That's why he says, هذا أصل عظيم من أصول الإسلام وقاعدة عظيمة من قواعد الدين. You just repelled all of that with this one. The origin is that it remains upon that way. If it was impure, it doesn't change. It doesn't become pure by doubts. It only becomes pure if we know that it's purified. But if it was pure, it doesn't become impure, except with certainty. So then a person, he bases his decisions on this. And then he moves. And even if the dog really came there, he based his decision upon that which the Prophet ﷺ taught us. So therefore he's good and he did the right thing. You understand? And is it a possibility that the dog actually came there? It's a possibility. You can't throw it out. But even if it did, and a person he didn't know, and he moved in the morning in the manner the Prophet ﷺ had described and taught, then he did what is incumbent upon him. He did what is incumbent upon him, and Allah, He is the most kind and merciful for those who follow His Prophet ﷺ. So, in any case, and he just said that a person, he can get these thoughts out of his mind and not turn to them, Now, so this is the issue with regards to the rih, with regards to the gas. As for the mani and the madhi, also in the same verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions وَإِن كُنْتُمْ جُنُبًا فَطَهَّرُوا. So subhanAllah, the eloquence of the Quran in one verse, how it's just maybe 5-6 lines on the page, one verse, but so many rulings and laws. Sharia is derived from there. The minor hadith is mentioned, the major hadith is mentioned. When the water is there, it's mentioned. Whenever the water is not there, it's mentioned. The ruling for that, and then what's supposed to be washed, and the order it's supposed to be washed, which one's supposed to be wiped. Don't forget the water when you wipe. Wamsahu bi ru'us. All of that is mentioned in this one verse. And he's so many rulings. When kuntum junuban fatahharu. And ayatul wudu. And if you are upon janaba, then you have to make tahara. So this is the issue with regards to that. That is well known. Ali radiallahu anhu, he says, Sa'altu an-Nabiy sallallahu alayhi wa sallam an al-madhi. That I asked the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam about the madhi. فقال من المذي الوضوء ومن المني الغسل. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentions this in Bukhari and Muslim, and this is the wording of At-Tirmidhi. It's متفق عليه in the origin, but in this wording here, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says من المذي الوضوء, that one, he must make wudu. It's an obligation to make wudu from the madhi. ومن المني الغسل. And from the mani, from the semen, one, he must make the ghusl. So it has also been collected by Bukhari and Muslim from the hadith of Ali radiallahu anhu, that he said, كنت رجلا مذاءً. And this is with regards to the madhi. As for the mani, إن كنتم جنوبا فطهروا. If you're upon janaba, meaning from the mani, from sexual intercourse, or from the wet dream and the likes like this, then you should make the tahara, you have to make the ghusl, al-ma'u min al-ma', as the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said. As for the madhi, then it has been collected by Bukhari and Muslim from the hadith of Ali radiyallahu anhu, that he says, kuntu rajulan madha'an. I was a man madha'an, he's somebody that has the madhi a lot. What is the madhi? The clear one that comes out whenever one thinks about intercourse and the likes like this. When he thinks about the sexual desires, this one comes out. It's thin, it's clear, and it's sticky. So he says that this was something that used to happen to me often. And some people, that happens to them or comes from them more than others. So he says that he was like this radiyallahu anhu. وَكُنْتُ أَسْتَحْيِي and أسأل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لمكان ابنته, from him. So he says that I used to be shy to ask the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم directly because of the place of his daughter. Meaning that this is occurring to him because of the daughter of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, because Ali, he's married to Fatima. So رضي الله عنهما. So he was shy to ask directly about this issue relating the daughter of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. So this did not still stop him. And he from finding the ruling, so he says, فَأَمَرْتُ الْمِقْدَادِ ibn al-Aswad فَسَأَلَهُ. So I ordered al-Miqdad ibn al-Aswad radiyallahu anhu to ask the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So the Prophet, he told him sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, يَكْسِرُ ذَكَرَهُ وَيَتَوَضَّعُ, that he should wash his private, he should wash his penis, and then he should make the wudu. And this narration and other wordings, like in Sunan Abi Dawud, likewise, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, لِيَغْسِلْ ذَكَرَهُ وَالْأُنْثَيَيْنِ وَلْيَتَوَضَّعُ, that he should wash his privates, meaning he should wash his penis, and likewise the testicles as well, all three of them, and make the wudu. So the fact that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ordered him to make wudu, this is a clear evidence for our discussion, and that whenever the madhi it comes, it's required to make wudu. it's required to make wudu. And likewise, a person, he must wash himself as well. And many of the people of knowledge, they will mention not only wash the dhakr, also the unthayain, as in some of these wordings. So we have to wash all three parts, not just one part. You have to wash all three parts. And some of the people of knowledge, they mention the wisdom from that, also washing the testicles as well, because it will lighten the shahwa. The shahwa comes from, and it's a type of heat, and it's because it's hot, and the likes like this, it rouses him up. So this is a means to cleanse that, and this must be cleaned. Also, we've seen that it's najasa khafifa, but it should be cleaned. And likewise, it's a means to lighten those desires, and also to stop that fluid from flowing. And if the desires are lightened and he calms down, he's cooled down in this manner like this, then it will stop flowing. And then after that, he'll make wudu. As for if it gets on the clothing, then it's mentioned that a person, he will make the rush, or he'll make the nadah, and then he will just sprinkle some water on that spot, and that will suffice, and Allah knows best. So far, we discussed the urine and the feces and the gas and the semen and the madhi, the one that comes out with desires and the thought of sexual intercourse. And then the last issue here is al-wadi. Is al-wadi. Has come in the al-kafi. ماء أبيض يخرج عقيب البول حكمه حكم البول لأنه في معناه. يعني this is something that is white, that comes out after the urine, and the ruling for that is the ruling of urine, and this is because it has the same understanding as the urine. So this is a thicker fluid that comes out sometimes along with the urine after urinating, and then sometimes it will come out in drops, and it's clear and thicker and white, similar to the mani, but it's not the mani, because the mani, it comes out with desire and pleasure, and it comes out forcefully. This one comes out along with the urine sometimes, and it's called al-wadi. So they make a differentiation between these affairs. So the wadi has the same ruling as the urine, meaning that it's najasa, and likewise it breaks the wudu. So far here, with regards to al-kharij al-mu'tad, that which normally comes from a-sabilain, al-kharij al-mu'tad min as-sabilain, that which normally comes from these two pathways, the pathways of urine and feces, we have the mani, al-mani, and this is tahir. But it requires for a person to make ghusl. The mani is pure, but if it requires for a person to make ghusl, however it comes. This fluid that comes out with pleasure, and it comes out with force, that's well known. The semen, whenever it's released, it requires for a person to make ghusl, and it's considered tahir, pure. As for al-bawl and al-wadi, then these two are both impure. They're both impure, and they require al-wudu. And as for the madhi, then this also is impure, but it's a light impurity, and it suffices to wash. If it gets on the clothing and the likes, a person, he can just splash water on it to wash it off. As for whenever it comes out, then he has to wash the penis and the testicles all together, and to cleanse himself off, and then he has to make wudu. So this is al-kharij al-mu'tad min as-sabilain. The second category is al-kharij al-nadir. And that which comes from the sabilain, also but rarely, like stones. For example, stones. Sometimes a person, he'll pass a stone. Or other times, for example, maybe worms will come out of a person. Waliyadu billah. And the likes like this, or whatever it may be. Even, for example, if a person, he ate a marble, and then this came out of him, for example. All of this is coming out of a sabilain, but it's not normal. It's something that happens, but it's rare. So this likewise, it breaks the wudu. It breaks the wudu with the majority of the scholars. So it doesn't normally come out, but it comes out rarely, but it breaks the wudu. And if something that comes out all the time, or normally comes out, and then people are all tried with it, if these affairs break the wudu, then something that comes out of the same place, but rarely, likewise has more right to break the wudu. So this also is going to break the wudu. The category is al-kharij, الذي يخرج فيما بين ذلك. It doesn't come out all the time, and it doesn't come out rarely. It's something that occurs though. And the people of knowledge, they mentioned that this is dam al-istihada. Dam al-istihada, the irregular blood. The irregular blood. Yani that's not from the blood of the menses. That's not from the blood of the menses. Yani no doubt that one invalidates the wudu. But this blood here, likewise, it invalidates the wudu. This blood here, likewise, it invalidates the wudu. So we have seen what that person will do. We have seen what that person will do. The woman upon al-istihada, what will she do? Yani the blood here, this blood invalidates the wudu. But many times it comes from her and it won't stop. And the likes like this. If she makes wudu, maybe it will come while she's making wudu. Or maybe she'll make wudu and then begin to pray and then it will come. Yani, without any decision, and without any choice. And the likes like this. So then how would this person deal with this? It's invalidating the wudu. Is it naqid? Al-istihada naqid min nawaqid? Them. It is. So what is the way out for this person? We've seen before that if they have to make wudu for every salah. So if it's an obligatory prayer, the wudu has to be made in the time of the obligatory prayer. So with regards to the obligatory prayer, the woman who has that istihada, then she's going to wait for the time to enter. Then she's going to cleanse herself, and then she's going to put some type of tissue or whatever she can there to help stop that blood from getting on her clothing, and then she's going to pray. She's going to pray. She can pray the sunnah. Then she can pray the obligatory prayer, even if the blood is coming. Even at this time, once the time entered, and she cleansed herself and took the precaution and made wudu, that wudu will not be invalidated from that blood until the time goes out. She's excused for this. This blood now, at this time, in this manner, is not considered from the nawaqid. It's not considered from the nawaqid al-wudu in this state right here. In this state right here. Everybody's with me? So this is the case. So therefore she can pray the sunnah. And then she can pray the fard. And then she can pray the sunnah again. And she can read the Quran. She can hold the mushaf. She can make tawaf. All of these affairs, so long as the time is still in. Whenever the time goes out, then the wudu goes out with the time. And the Prophet ﷺ, he ordered the woman who was mustahada and tawadda'i, قال لها صلى الله عليه وسلم توضئي لكل الصلاة حتى يجي ذلك الوقت. That you make wudu for every prayer until the time comes. Until that time comes. So this is what has been mentioned with regards to that. So along with that, we have seen as well, just to review the one sadas al-bawl, and also istitlaq ar-rih. Sadas al-bawl, the one who has sadas al-bawl, the bowl, it does what? It invalidates the wudu. The urine, it invalidates the wudu. So this person, even if it's just one drop, it invalidates the wudu. But this person, it doesn't stop dropping. It doesn't stop dripping. So then he does the same thing. Whenever the time for the prayer enters, then he will cleanse himself and then put something there to help protect that from getting on the clothing. And then he will make wudu, and then he will pray in the same manner until the time is out. Pray the non-obligatory, the obligatory, read from the Quran until the time is out, even if it drips while he's in the prayer, even if he's excused for all of that. He's excused for all of that. Likewise, the one who has the problem with the gas as well, the same ruling. Istitlaq ar-rih. They do the same thing. So the rih, the gas, it breaks the wudu. It breaks the wudu. So this person, he has gas a lot and he's trying with that and it's coming unwillfully without any choice, then it keeps coming and therefore it will keep breaking his wudu. But his solution is that he will wait for the time to come. Whenever the time of the prayer enters, then he will make wudu. And then he will remain upon that wudu until the time goes out, unless he did something else to break the wudu. We've seen that likewise. So he's excused for that case. So the one who has the gas, if he takes all the precaution, he makes the wudu whenever the time comes in, and then gas comes while he's in salah. What does he have to do? Keep praying. What if he start washing his hands? He makes the madmadah. And then gas comes. What does he do? He just, after he makes this, he keeps going. It doesn't affect him. Because this particular issue doesn't stop with him. So now he will say the one who has the issue with the urine, so that it's clear. So he has sadas al-bawl. The person has sadas al-bawl. So if it's dripping when he's making wudu, he's excused. If it's dripping whenever he's praying, he's excused. So long as he's making the ablution in the time of the prayer, right? But what if he passes gas? Now the wudu is invalidated. Now the wudu is invalidated. You understand this part? It's because he's excused. This person has issues with the urine, and he's excused for that, and he will take care of that problem by making the wudu for every prayer in the proper time, for making wudu for the obligatory prayer in the proper time. As for the other invalidators of wudu, he's not excused from that. They will break his wudu. The other invalidators will break his wudu. And likewise the istihada, the mustahada, the woman upon that has this blood that's irregular. She's excused for the blood. The way she deals with that is that she cleanses herself whenever the time of the prayer enters, and then she makes wudu for that prayer, and she remains upon wudu all the way till the end of that time, so long as another invalidator doesn't happen. As for if she went to the restroom, or as for if she passed gas, so on and so forth, now these affairs, they will break the wudu. Now she have to redo the wudu. So there will be excuse for that one thing. So these issues here, these are the main rulings related to al-kharij min as-sabilain. Al-kharij min as-sabilain. So these anything that comes out of these pathways, they will break the wudu. Likewise, in addition to that, just to emphasize, any blood, even if it's not istihaba, blood. If a person, he passed blood, from the front or from the back, from the path of urine or the path of feces, that blood that comes out of these places will also break the wudu. You have to clean that, and then also he will have to make wudu. So whatever comes from these pathways, they invalidate the wudu, although they have different rulings with regards to them. هذا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.